What's going on, YouTube? I am Ranger Not Available. You can call me Aiden. And tonight, I again really don't know what to talk about, but I gotta think of something, or else, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I don't have anything for tomorrow, and I'm gonna be in town tomorrow, so I can't really record during the day. I guess first things first. I don't know. It's not that I don't want to do this. I'm just lacking creativity right now, And yeah, especially when I don't think of myself as like a storyteller. I can tell stories pretty well, but I'm not good at it. I want to do at least a couple. So let me think. First, pull that down. I guess I could just talk about stories in general. Do I like telling them? Why not? All right. So, stories have always been an important part of my life. Also, ignore the fact that I'm incredibly tired. I'm recording this at 11 o'clock. But I gotta do it before these lights turn off, because I don't want to light myself with a candle. So, stories have always been an important part of my life. Is that my shirt? Yeah, it is. Even since a young age. So when I was super, super young, is basically every night, my grandparents would read me a book before I went to bed. And I don't know, it's just always been an important part of my life. Before even kindergarten, I was learning how to read and count and everything. Obviously, most people at least start learning letters in preschool. As far as I know, at least. I have no idea. But even before that, I had been my grandparents were teaching me what the words are, And yeah, so by the time I started kindergarten, I could already kind of read. So during I don't even know how to put it, quote unquote, playtime, I would be sent to the first grade room because I read at a higher level than everybody else. A higher level, as in it's, reading. It's not it was hard. It was kindergarten, but it was I'd be sent home a lot of the time after school with reading assignments. And I think to this day, I'm one of the only kids who's ever done that. So that's kind of cool, I guess. People think I'm kind of smarter than I am. I'm really not. I'm not saying I'm dumb by any means, but like, just because I know a lot of different stuff doesn't mean I'm smart. Especially when it comes to like what you would consider typical intelligence. Like, I'm not really even all that good with it. Especially when it comes to math. I suck at math. But, yeah. So I could read for a long time. And I think I've specified this in at least one of my other videos, but I've always been like a maker and a tinkerer, and I've always liked to work on things and be creative. And let's just say my art skills are less than impressive. But things I could always do, even to this day, my handwriting is terrible, is I could always write, and I liked working on things that are physical. Like, I'd help my grandpa work on cars, or, you know, things of that kind of thing, like, or that kind of concept, you know, or like we'd work on little things and we'd build them out of wood and stuff. And it was always cool. Then I mean, yeah, I've always worked on little things. Like, one of the things I have tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed to do is create like a TCG. Not like obviously a big widespread one, because I mean, duh. But like just one for myself and maybe a couple of my friends to play every once in a while, you know? And it never got out of the ground stages because all the cards were either way underpowered or way overpowered. And I just found it fun. But, you know, it's what it is. I'll probably still try again because it's one of those things that's fun to me. I like strategy games, especially trading card games, and the mechanics weren't bad by any means. They were just like really badly balanced. But when it comes to stories themselves, there are like technically 4 different story, I don't want to say like story universes, but like that's kind of how they are, because 3 of them take place within 2 universes with one in the middle. Get out of here. But the one in the middle is completely about jumping between the 2, and it's a ridiculous story, and it's meant to be ridiculous. But the other one is a Star Wars story that I've worked on for years and years now. It follows the character Marad, who is from the planet Kaizen, and he is a boy warrior who is very force sensitive, and eventually he does become a Jedi, but even before that, when he is still very young, he becomes Kin Kara, which on Kaizen and in that whole thing is like the equivalent of like, I don't even know, because he's like a magic user. He uses a form of magic similar to like the Night Sisters, concept wise, but he does it differently, and it's not about the dark side, and there's a lot of nuance to it that I'm skipping over because I want to try and finish this video in like 10 minutes because I still got to record another one. Whoa, that's weird. I have never seen that happen before. It's kind of cool. Anyway. Yeah, Mard eventually goes with his master Kinian to the Jedi Order and begins training. Of course, he's already a warrior, so most of like the lightsaber stuff and a lot of the Force stuff even he already kind of knows how to do in his own way. So yeah, this takes place mostly in the High Republic, High Republic era. And then, of course, I like making my stories downright ridiculous. And I started this when I was in probably 4th or 5th grade, like concept-wise, and started writing it down in 6th grade. And like, Mard himself gets time dilated somehow. And like, and I say somehow, not like I'm not telling you guys, as in like I still don't know how he gets time dilated. But he gets time dilated somehow to Clone War era. And I think that'll be fun to try and figure out how to write. I think it'll have something to do with the World Between Worlds introduced in Rebels, I believe. Obviously, it's probably in Legends even before that. It might have been in canon before that. But I have no idea about any of it. Really, like, my canon is the first 6 movies, the Clone Wars TV show, and that's right about it. Like, at least when it comes to, like, my super canon knowledge, like, what I know is definitely canon. Because like, I never read the comics. I've never been, like, a big comic guy. But, like, I've seen a couple of them, but not enough to really super know them. But yeah, I just think it's fun. And yeah, that's the story of Mard. One of the connecting lines is the villain. I've split it into 3 because Mard gets time dilated when he's like 40-ish, but that's 40-ish when he's like 60 age-wise, because Kazanians age differently than like regular human kind and everything. So they count their years completely different. So physically he's like 40. Age-wise, he's closer to 50 or 60. I don't remember. I think I used some formula for it. But yeah, that's kind of Mard's whole thing. And then that'd be what I call like the first book. Is during the High Republic, and it ends when he gets time dilated. The main villain of the entire book is a guy named Kiaris Axelon, who becomes Darth Mevalor. And the whole reason behind the start of his vengeance is because during a raid on a compound, Mard killed his father and pushed him off a roof. I'm not kidding. Again, I started writing this when I was real young, so I've changed a whole lot, but that's the original quote-unquote canon of it. Then, after he gets time dilated, one more recurring quote-unquote character, or at least like name, is Sakali. His master's master had 3 apprentices. It's like the start of this stupid, like, Stacy's mom had 4 children, you know? But he had 3 apprentices. He had Kinian Sinataga, who's Mard's master, Olan Anello, who is Mard's very good friend, and then Anna Sakali, who Mard takes on after Ekin, Kinian's master, dies. It's complicated how it works, but it's fun. I enjoyed that part. But, so yeah, Kinian and Ekin and basically everyone else dies except for, like, Mard, and he gets time dilated, so he basically dies. And Anna doesn't die. She lives on after Mard and tells his tale. So Anna Sakali eventually leaves the Order and has children, and they have children, and they have children, and yada yada yada. Go all the way down to the very start of, like, the Clone Wars, and there is a new villain, Vile Axelon, who is related to Mevalor via a cult, basically. And this is actually, I think, the first kind of general thing I started writing. I wrote it with Kenyon and Mard originally, but it wasn't, like, as fleshed out, and it was going to be literally right before the Clone Wars, which still could be cool. I still don't know how everything is going to fit together. I only have about 4 pieces out of the 10,000 I need. But yeah, Marad's new 2 apprentices are the descendants of Anna Sakali, Fate, and Zeal Sakali, who are brother and sister, and are descended from Destiny Sakali, who is an important character eventually, I think, but I haven't really written her out yet. And then the main villain is a bounty hunter who works for the Separatists named Vile Axelon. If you remember, Kiaris Axelon is the actual name of Darth Mevalor, who is the bad guy of the first book. So the second book takes place during the Clone Wars and ends during Order 66. Or not during, but like after Order 66. And then Marad's third outing is against 3 Inquisitors who are, like, really low on the list. They're not even obviously canon ones. I think it's like in the 20s where they are, like the 21st, 22nd, and 25th or something, Inquisitors. And then they are, like, building another super weapon into a moon, as opposed to building one the size of a moon, like is the Death Star, you know. But the third book's where things actually get unhinged, so I don't want to bore you with all of those, especially when the third book's the literal least written out so far. I have like 4 plot points in the final book. Yeah, that's really that. Not much more to Marad. But that's really about 20 minutes. So I think in the next episode, I will tell you guys about my other, I don't want to call it a series, because like I don't own the Star Wars series, and Jumpers itself isn't a series. Well, Jumpers is, but it takes place between universes, and it's complicated. There's a moonbow, or like a halo of some sort. Hold on. I doubt you'll be able to see it even. Can you guys see it? Probably not, but yeah, I don't think you can. But you can see it because it's shining through the clouds. Like, I can see everything from like the reds up to like a greenish. And then because there's no clouds right by the moon, there's very little in like the blue to purple range. But yeah. Again, I don't like splicing these together, but I saw that and I think it's beautiful. And again, I can see more than you guys can. It goes from a red to like a bluish, and then I can't see like the purple ranges. But guys, I think I'll tell you about Jumpers another day. So until next time, I'm Ranger Not Available, but you can call me Aiden, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace and love, and goodbye.